So today on Game Review, I have a little unorthodox of an episode for you because there's this really cool game that I like. It's called Earthbound, and I want to talk about it because it's probably one of my favorite games of all time. So essentially, Earthbound is an RPG made by Nintendo in, I think, 1983. And it is almost completely different from your traditional RPG, where normally you would have things like swords, dragons, and all of that mystical magic and stuff like that. In Earthbound, you use baseball bats, you fight dogs, and you're also saving the planet from a giant alien invasion that will probably torment your mind for years to come. It's a pretty good game. And specifically, the reason I find Earthbound to be so entertaining is probably because of the environment. It's not set in some kind of mystical kingdom or anything like that you'd see in any of these older RPGs and things like that. You're playing in the 80s. You're literally just playing in the 80s. You have stuff like gangsters, arcades, you eat hamburgers for health. You travel to some weird Indian kingdom, but that's not really the 80s, but you know, whatever. And while you might think, well heck, why would I play a game that's essentially like real life? It's definitely not. See, like, the enemies that you fight may just be like dogs and snakes and other random things at the beginning, but then you literally fight like a giant ant. Like, I'm not making that up. You fight a giant nuclear ant. It's a pretty cool time. So to conclude, I would absolutely recommend Earthbound for its great story, its great characters, its amazing presentation and dialogue, and of course the charm you'll get just from playing the game. Although it may be lengthy because it is a very time-consuming game, and you might not find it to be the fastest experience possible, I definitely would give it 9 out of 10 Barack Obamas, my highest score to date. Because I've only made 2 videos, but that doesn't matter.
Recently, PNN had the opportunity to talk to Tina and how she target trains her animals. What is target training?
Target training is where you have an item or an object and you teach the animal to follow it or listen for it. At the end, when you're training them, you actually have a treat for them, which we gave our tortoise an apple after he started following the stick that we were using with the red dot on it. Eventually they will follow it without a treat.
How long would you say it would take for the animal to get used to the target training part?
When we originally started target training Peyton, it took us about 3 months to actually get him to understand that he needed to follow the stick with the red dot. Now he follows the stick, he knows that he's going to get a special treat, and we don't have any issues. In the beginning, we had many issues because we had to find something that actually enticed him to actually follow it.
Why should we be target training our animals?
We here at the Seymour house should be target training our animals because Peyton, who you will actually see in the videos, is going to become 200 pounds in about 10 years. So it's going to be very difficult to get him in and out of places, inside and outside of our house. So we need to target train him so we don't have to continually pick him up, because 200 pounds is a lot to pick up, and he's very wiggly, even at this size.
Why do some people target train their animals?
People target train their animals for many different reasons. At the zoo, they target train their animals because sometimes they have inclement weather and need to get them inside of their enclosures. They use many different things to target train them. We use this to target train our tortoise. Both of our tortoises. One is yellow, one is red. The zoo actually uses a similar device. They also use air horns, and they also use hand gestures.
Hello, welcome to Pirate Sports Center. I'm Ryan. I'm here to give you all the news in the past week in Cardington sports. And starting out with boys basketball. Now, the boys did lose to Fredericktown last Friday, but on Tuesday they got a big win over Highland. And now I'm hoping this win will propel them to getting big wins when it comes to tournament time. And of course, this now sits them at 4-5 overall in the KMAC. And overall, they are 6-8. So we're hoping they get a couple wins for the tournaments, and then that will make it so they have like a 500 record or something, maybe even better than that. And now moving over to girls basketball. The girls, like I said, beat the tar out of Northmore. And more importantly, Casey Berkey scored enough points to make her the holder of the most points in a girls basketball career. She beat out Jackie Morris for the title. So we're hoping Casey holds this record for a while because boy, is that a lot of points. And this now makes the girls 11-0 in the KMAC. And to be honest, I don't think anyone in the KMAC is going to beat them. Mount Gilead was the second best, and we beat them by a lot of points. And overall, they're 13-1. And their only losses at River Valley, and they're not playing River Valley again. So to be honest, I think the girls might end the season with one loss overall and no losses conference-wise. And now, yes, it's that time to see the top 5 highlights in the past week in Cardington sports.
Starting out at number 5, we have Danny Vaught getting a tough layup against Highland. Next up at number 4, Danny Vaught gets another tough layup, but this time it's against Fredericktown. And at number 3, Casey gets her weekly big block against the other team. This time it's against Danville. At number 2, Josh Shook goes down the fast break, chucks up a 3 with time running out, and makes it. And at number 1, I don't even know how to describe this. Nate Hickman gets the ball in the post and makes one of the most blessed shots I've ever seen in my life.
And yes, congratulations to Nate Hickman for having a heck of a shot over Fredericktown. And now moving on to upcoming games for girls and boys basketball. We'll start with boys. Now today's Thursday for me. It's not for you, but it is for me. And on Friday, the boys will be playing Danville. And last time they beat Danville, they beat them by over 30 points. And to be honest, Danville's not that good. I think the boys get a big win, their second straight win in the KMAC, and propel them to becoming 5-5 overall in the conference. Now moving over to girls basketball. The girls are going to be playing East Knox Saturday night. And once again, East Knox is not very good, and I think it's really bad to bet against the girls because they don't hardly ever lose. So I think they're going to win. I think it'll be a nice, easy win, and that'll make the girls 12-0 in the KMAC and 14-1 on the year. And now it's time for me to say goodbye. See y'all next week on Pirates Sports Center.